Okay, so today you need to get out day 2 notes and also your formula sheet because we will be using that as well. So get that out. And we're going to learn about prisms and cylinders. So once you have your packet, we're going to fill this in. So if you need to pause it for the students to get out the packet, please do that. So a prism is a polyhedron or a 3D shape with two congruent parallel faces called bases. The non-base faces of the prism are called lateral faces. And we can use the dimensions of a right prism to calculate the lateral area and surface area. So for a prism, we have the bases. Those are the two parallel sides. And just remember, base does not mean bottom. Okay. And then for this one, the base is the pentagon because that's the parallel and congruent side. So we name a prism by its base. This would be called a hexagonal prism because the base is a prism, or the base is a hexagon. And this one a pentagonal prism because the base is a pentagon. So the lateral area is the area of the lateral faces. The lateral faces are the rectangles that connect the two bases. So it's the area of everything except the bases. And then the surface area, we'll find the area of all the sides of the figure and add them together. And then volume is the space a figure occupies, and it's measured in cubic units. So here's the formulas. Again, you get them on the formula sheet, so we need to make sure you can identify them. The lateral area of a right prism is the product of the perimeter of the base and the height, so it's P times H. P is the perimeter of the base, and H is the distance between the two bases. So that's key. If you look back on your other one, 8 on this one is the height because it's the distance between the two bases. So this is actually on its side. Be very careful to identify that first. And then P means you add up all the sides of one base, not both of them, just one. So these are the formulas. On your formula sheet, we always use this one. So surface area is the sum of the lateral area and the area of the bases of the prism. So PH plus 2B. And then the volume of a prism is the product of the area of the base and the height of the prism. So big B times H. Now, here's the key thing. Big B is the area of the base. So if the base is a rectangle, you use the area for a rectangle, which is length times width. If the base is a triangle, you use the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So you're going to use different formulas to find the lateral, or to find the area of the base, based on the shape of the base. And again, H is the distance between the two bases. So I put the pictures from the formula sheet so you could identify them. So these are the two prisms that they give you on your sheet. This one you can use for all prisms. So whether it's a triangular prism, a hexagonal, a rectangular prism, any type of prism, you can use these three formulas. For only a rectangular prism, you can use these two, that the volume is length times width times height, and the surface area is this long formula here. Notice that this does not have a lateral area formula, so you use this lateral area formula for a rectangular prism as well. So for our example, we're going to find the lateral area of a regular hexagonal prism. Remember, regular means all the sides and angles are equal. So all these sides are 4 for the hexagon. So first thing, identify the formula. So lateral area for a prism is HP. H is 13 because that's the distance between the two bases. P, I'm going to add up 4 6 times, so that's 4 times 6, which is 24. And then I'm just going to multiply them together, and that gives me the lateral area, which if you multiply that together, you get 312 inches squared. So for the second one, they ask us for the lateral area and the surface area. So this is a rectangular prism. If for a rectangular prism, we usually let the base be the bottom because all the opposite sides are parallel and congruent. So for this, again, if I go back to the formula sheet, I can use this one, but for lateral area, I still have to use my HP. So I'm going to do lateral area is HP. My height is 30, because that's the distance between the bases. My perimeter, I'm going to do 8 plus 7 plus 8 plus 7, because this side is 7, 8. If I add that together, I get 30. And then I'm going to do 30 times 30, which is 900. For surface area, I can use either formula. So we'll do the 2 times length times width plus 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height first. So my height is 30. The length and width, it doesn't really matter which one you say is the length or width, but we'll just call it that way. And then I'm just going to plug it in. So 2 times 8 times 7 plus 2 times 8, 8 times the height, which is 30, plus 2 times the width, 7, and then the height, which is 30. And if you multiply that all together, then you get 1012. Just to show you that the other formula works, if I use the other one, it's HP plus 2B. Okay. To get B, you do the area of the base, the area of a rectangle. So you look at your formula for a rectangle. That's length times width. So I'm going to do 8 times 7, which is 56. And then I'm going to take my lateral area up here, which is 900 to save some time, plus 2 times 56. If you multiply that out, you get 1012 again. And this again would be meters squared. So the second shape is a cylinder. A cylinder is probably the easiest. It's just like a prism, but the bases are circles. So width, I should be putting circular bases. And for a right cylinder, so that just means that the height makes a right angle with the base. We can use the radius and the height to find the lateral area and surface area. So these are the two formulas. We usually always use this formula for lateral area. That's the only one on the formula sheet if you look here. So we're going to use 2 pi RH for the lateral area. That gives me the area of this middle section. And then to find the surface area, we do 2 pi RH times the area of the two circles. And remember, the area of a circle is 2 pi r squared. So for our examples, it says use the diagram below or at the right that shows a right cylinder. What are the lateral area and surface area? So I'm going to write the formula 2 pi RH, and then I'm just going to plug in everything I know. So 4 and 9, multiply that out, and then we get 72 pi. Surface area, same thing, just plug in your formula. So we do 2 pi 4 times h plus 2 pi 4 squared. And if you notice, h is 9, that this is the same as the lateral area because we're taking the lateral area and adding the bases. So you could also just use the 72 pi from above. And then this gives me 4 squared, which is 16 times 2 is 32 pi. And then you can add them because they both have a pi, which gives me 104 pi. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys try B, so please pause the video. Just remember the height is between the bases, so this height is 22. Okay, so pause it and try that one, and then I'll have the answer up. So those are the answers to the two that we should have got for the B. Okay, so then we have practice. I'm not going to do the cylinder or the cube or rectangular prism because we already did that. I'm going to do number 3, the triangular prism. So you're going to come back and do 1 and 2 after the video. So for number 3, we have a triangular prism. The reason is it's a triangular prism is because the two bases, the parallel congruent sides, are triangles. So for lateral area, again, we use the prism one for all prisms, which is HP. and the height is 10 because it's the distance between the two bases. And the perimeter, I'm going to have an issue because I don't have the hypotenuse. So how do we find the hypotenuse of a right triangle? We do Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to do this. If you solve for C, you get the square root of 34, which if I round to the nearest tenth is 5.8. And then the lateral area, I'm going to do 5.8 times the height, which is 10. Technically the other way, but it doesn't matter. And that gives me, oh, sorry, not 5.8. We got to find the perimeter. So hold on, go back a second. So the perimeter, to get the perimeter, I'm going to add the three sides of one of the bases. So I'm going to add 3, 5, and 5.8. Okay, so if I add that, then I get 13.8. That's my perimeter. And then I'm going to do my height, 5.8 times my perimeter, which is 13.8. And that gives me 80.04. And then for surface area, I have to use HP plus 2 capital B. Okay, HP we already found. To get B, I have to do the area of the base, the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So 1/2, the base is 3, the height is 5, or the base is 5, the height is 3, because they make a right triangle. So if you calculate that, you get 7.5, and then we're going to do 80.04 plus 2 times 7.5. Sorry, I need to go back again because I didn't do the right height. So we got to fix that for a second. So this height, sorry, is the height which we said was 10. So I'm doing 10 times 13.8, which is 138. So then I'm going to fix this and put 138 here, plus 2 times 7.5. And then if we do that, we get 153 for the surface area. Okay, so just make sure you fix that. C was my 5.8, not my height, so I have to use the 10 for that. Okay, now notice this height is the height of the triangle. This height is the height of the prism. So there's two heights when we're calculating the formula. So for number 4, I'm going to have you try that one. Just when you read it, they said if all surfaces except the top are made of cardboard, how much cardboard used to make this raisin carton? And they're talking about a cylindrical carton of raisins. So we want to figure out how much cardboard. So we want, for the cylinder, just this middle piece. And remember, we said that middle piece is called the lateral area. So you're just going to find the lateral area of the cylinder, and that will give you the correct answer. So for number 5, we're going to first classify the prism. So for this prism, the base, if you look, the parallel sides are here up and down. It's a pentagon, so this is a pentagonal prism. Okay, the bases are regular pentagons. Find the lateral area. So we do HP. Again, the height is 11 because that's the distance between the bases. For perimeter, I'm going to do 5 times 5 because there's 5 sides of 5. And then I'm going to multiply 11 times 25 and get 275. For this one, C, the area of each, it should say base is 43 centimeters squared. Find the surface area. So we don't know how to find the area of a pentagon, so they have to tell me it if they want me to calculate it. So we're going to take the HP plus 2b, and they already gave me the 2b, so I'm going to put the 43 for the b, and then 275 again is my lateral area, and then if you multiply that all out, you get 361. So we're going to then skip the other practice, and we're going to go to the work backwards one on the next page. And then you're going to come back and try the other one. So we're going to do a few of these, and then you're going to have the rest of the class to practice. So these are the same thing as we did with area. Now they give us something and we have to work backwards. So a right triangular prism has a volume of 1560 cubic inches. The lengths of the legs of the, it should say right triangle, are 12 inches and 15 inches. What is the height? So we're going to take volume. We're going to write the formula for the volume of a right triangular prism. So if you look at your formula sheet, the volume of any type of prism is big B times H. Now, big B is the area of the base, which is the area of the triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So they said the legs of the triangle, and this is why it has to be right, because they said legs, is 12 and 15. So to find that big B, I'm going to do 1/2 12 times 15. And if we do that, that gives me 90. So that's big B. Then I'm going to plug in my volume, which is 1560, my big B, which is 90, and H. And then I'm going to solve, and I get H to be 17.3 repeating, so 17.3. So the second one says a triangular prism has a volume of 240. So again, a prism is big B times H. Which of the measurement below are not possible dimensions of the area, the base, and the height? And they give you big B. So all I have to do is multiply these together and make sure it gets 240. So if you do each one, 48 times 5 is 240. 24 times 10, 240. 12 times 20, 240. But then 20 times 4 gives me 80, so that doesn't work. Then 16, a cube has a volume of 81 cubic feet. Okay, a cube is just like a rectangular prism. So volume is length times width times height. Now, for a cube, all the sides are equal. So if I have a cube, and we all know that I'm not good at drawing, all the sides are equal. So this would be x times x times x, which is x cubed. So that is equal to 81. So to get rid of that, you take the cube root, and that gives you 4.3. And then you're going to plug it into your surface area, because in order to find the surface area, I have to know a side length, which is why I did this first. And then you're just going to do 2 times 4.3 times 4.3. And then add that again, because all the dimensions are the same, and then add that a third time. And if you do that, you get 110.94. Okay, so then what we're going to do is just flip back to number 6, because I want to do that one, and then after that you're going to practice the rest of class. So for number 6, we're going to find the lateral area, surface area, and volume of the prism. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. So the base, again, is not on the bottom. It's the two trapezoids because they're parallel and congruent. So this is one of my bases. So when we do lateral area, again, it's a prism. So for any prism, I use the HP. The height is the distance between the two trapezoids, which is 12. The perimeter, I'm going to add all the sides of one of the bases. This is 8.1, since that is. So the perimeter is 4 plus 8.1 plus 4 plus 2.8, which gives us 18.9. And then I'm going to take 12 and multiply by 18.9, and that gives me 226.8. And if I round it to the nearest whole number, 227. Okay, then surface area is HP plus 2B. When I find big B, it's the area of the base. So I'm going to do the area of just the trapezoid. And if you notice in the back, they put 3 straight up and down, so that's my height. So I'm just focusing on this. And wherever it's straight up and down or your right angle, that's the height of the base. So when I do big B, if you find the trapezoid, it's 1/2 h B1 plus B2. The height is 3, because that's the straight up and down, the distance between the two bases. And then the bases are the parallel sides, so 8.1 and 2.8. If you multiply that together, you get 16.35. And now I'm just going to plug it in. HP, we said, was 227 plus 2 times 16.35. If you multiply that out, you're going to get the surface area, which is 259.7. And if you round that, we get 260. Okay, and then the last thing they asked for is volume for this. So same problem, we need the volume. Now, volume's going to be a lot easier because we just have to do big B times H. We already found big B. So big B we found to be the 16.35. And then we're going to multiply by the height of the prism, which is 12. And then if you multiply that together, you get the area, which is 196.2. Okay, so for the rest of the class, you're going to use your formula sheet and you're going to practice and do the rest of the notes. And then I will have the answers filled online by tomorrow if you want to check your answers on some of them. And then there's also an answer key on my desk, so you could ask for the sub to check your answers. Okay, have a great day. Bye.